It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Had a good day, everybody. I'm Brad Miller. It is County-Wide, and we're happy to welcome into studio Shannon Boone. Shannon is the housing manager for the cities of both Sedona and of Cottonwood, and we're going to talk about a number of things today, including, and I think up front, the City Council, City of Sedona, recently approved a program, a $240,000 budgetary item, a program where they will essentially incentivize homeowners to lease out their homes, especially to lower income workers, rather than verbos or Airbnbs or other kinds of things like that. And Shannon, did I get at least that part correct?
Yeah.
As we say hello,
yes.
and welcome to the program. All right, so let's just kind of start there. That did make the news. That's how it got to my attention. So a lot of folks kind of interested in talking about it. Affordable housing in this area has always been an issue. Every city council meeting I've ever been to in my life, I think that's been on the agenda at some point or another. So we'll get into that as the bigger piece of this. But this program specifically for City of Sedona, how did this come about? Did council just see a need and go from there? How's it going?
So we were looking at some strategies to address the housing shortage. You know, we have a large workforce that works in the tourism industry in
Right.
Sedona, and there aren't a lot of homes affordable there. The house prices have skyrocketed over the last couple of years, and there aren't a lot of available rentals at all.
Right. Is the program, is the idea more aimed toward providing or at least finding potentially housing for lower income workers? And how much, if any of it, is kind of maybe trying to steer away from some of the verbos and those types of vacation type rentals, or is it two different things?
Well, the program is really designed to add additional units because we simply don't have enough. So there is no restriction that requires that they be rented to lower income workers, just to our local workforce as opposed to tourists.
Yeah. I would assume in a tourist area like this, and not just Sedona, but all of this part of the state, if not every corner of Arizona, would be a popular, certainly tourist destination. We already know that. But that Verbos, Airbnbs, and those kinds of vacation rentals would be very, very popular.
Sure. So in Sedona, they're particularly problematic. We have 15% of our housing units there are short-term rentals.
Okay, that's a lot.
So we've essentially added an equal number of overnight stays to what the hotels offer. So we've doubled the tourism.
Okay. Did pandemic play into that? Where, we've heard about like the staycations, folks coming up from Phoenix or other parts of Arizona, the Southwest, more so as opposed to people coming in from the Midwest or back east or those kinds of things. Any breakdown on that? Did that kind of fuel this?
I think that it did. That was sort of before my time, but
Yeah.
I know because I'm one of the people who came here because I could be a remote worker during the pandemic.
Yeah,
so.
right. Okay. The program itself, we got some of those numbers right. You were telling me before we opened the microphones that this program was going to roll out a bit more slowly, but that already, just because of the media interest, some folks are already kind of looking into it.
Right. So I presented this to council a couple of weeks ago, and they approved the program. And from there, some media outlet picked up the news and ran with it. But we weren't planning to roll out the program until September 1st.
Okay. So, well, that's where we are. And is the program up and running, or what's the status?
I've had over 150 inquiries from residents already about the program.
Okay.
So it was a little out of control last week with all the calls and emails coming in and sort of slowed down the ramp up. But I did get everything up and running, and it's on the website now.
Well, all the more that we appreciate you coming in and cutting away from your time there to take care of it. Well, that seems like that's going to be a very popular thing then. If you've had that many inquiries and the show is just kind of the curtain's just kind of gotten up. What do people want to know? I mean, how does it work? To what degree? Dollars and cents wise, can they be incentivized? How do you work with one individual homeowner who wants to get involved in the program?
Yeah, so the incentive depends on the size of the rental unit that they're offering, and it even includes people who just want to rent out like a bedroom in their home.
Right.
So for a one bedroom in your home, the incentive is $3,000 for a 1-year lease. But for a 3-bedroom home, it's $12,000.
Okay. And does that when we start parsing that, does that get into the city either dictating or helping the homeowner decide what rent they're going to charge, say, a temporary worker? How does that go?
No, so we'll let the market decide that.
Okay.
If they're renting to a local worker, we're assuming it's something a local worker can afford.
Okay.
The maximum rent to be included in the program is $2,200 a month, though. So we're not looking to subsidize folks who are renting their house out for $3,000 a month, which
Right.
is kind of the going rate right now.
Right. Okay. And okay. Does that break down in any other way? Like in terms, you talk about the size of the home. Does that in terms, like I know there's a lot of homes with what do we call them? Secondary mothers-in-law, mother-in-laws, or whatever
Yeah.
it is. All across the board here again, the market determines that, or are there any
Yes.
requirements or restrictions there? No.
No restrictions there. Most of the, what you called mother-in-law homes or
Yeah.
accessory dwelling units, most
Right.
of those would qualify as a whole house, assuming that they have, bathroom, kitchen separate and
Right.
everything.
Kind of the idea, so I'd assume most of them are kind of outfitted that way.
Right.
Okay. I'm just curious if there'll be construction coming, people adding on for this specific reason. But again, I guess we'll just kind of wait and see that. Have we had anyway? This, I mean, literally is the first day of the project of the program. But have we had any kind of feedback from business owners and people who employ some of the folks who have a tough time finding?
So far, I've heard a couple of thank yous from the business owners, and they are a large part of the reason that we did this, because we get a lot of complaints that no one can find employees. So.
Right. And I for the longest time, and maybe this is still true, and your perspective being involved with both Sedona and Cottonwood, Cottonwood, Verde Valley is kind of sort of a bedroom community to Sedona, not just with day, hospitality workers, but with very much white-collar professionals. I don't know if that's still true or not. Can you give a perspective on that? Or was that ever correct to kind of think of it that way?
I think that used to be true, but I feel like Cottonwood has become a destination in its own right.
Yeah,
So,
I think so too. And I got no evidence other than that it just kind of seems that way.
yeah,
I
so
mean,
the growth of Cottonwood right now is adding to the housing shortage as much as the growth of Sedona.
Yeah.
And Sedona actually shrank in size over the last 10 years. So
Population-wise?
population, yeah.
Oh, how much? I don't want to. If you have the numbers right at your fingertips.
I don't have the numbers, but from above 10,000 to under 10,000, which is
Okay. Enough to make the tax base.
makes it different. Yeah.
somebody in that department is gonna take notice. All right. Well, interesting, and all of this kind of feeding toward this notion of affordable housing, and it seems like a lot of things can kind of get stuffed into what we call affordable housing. Anybody, as my wife and I did this past weekend, who takes a drive around town, in our case Cottonwood, there's building going up all over the place. Saws are running all the time. Nails are being hammered just all the time. And I think most of us think of that as as a positive thing. A lot of folks are, I'm here now, bar the door, not in my backyard. All of those terms come flying out too, and those kinds of things can happen, especially in smaller communities. But the reality is people are continuing to come. Are we getting a handle on affordable housing needs? This program clearly is aimed at that. Is it going to be enough?
This program is definitely not going to provide enough. We're hoping that with the pilot program, we might add 35 units and get enough data to determine if it's worth continuing the program.
Okay.
But really what we're going to see is the change coming through the addition of new, mostly apartment units that are proposed right now.
Right.
There's a lot of development going on in Cottonwood, and a lot of people say, yeah, but it's not going to be affordable. But any units that are created are, you add to the supply. And
right. Additional inventory should have that effect. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to take a break, but fascinating discussion. We'll continue with that. Shannon Boone is our guest today. Shannon is a housing manager, cities of Sedona and Cottonwood. And there's a lot to talk about and a lot to think about, and we'll do it when the Countywide returns right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley for 38 years, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust, designed, engineered, and built in the USA. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates on systems that are quiet and affordable. Verde Solaire is locally owned since 1983 and available for all your heating, air conditioning, and plumbing needs. Call 928-567-5315. Visit them online at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Taxes, taxes, taxes.
It's that time again. This is Lewis with Rice Accounting Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. We don't sell cars, we don't do hair or wait tables. We do taxes. At Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, we talk taxes and we prepare taxes. Open year-round for tax filings. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona. For over 20 years, our local preparers have helped neighbors pay their fair share and no more.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service in the Tri-Cities at 772-7872. That's 772-7872.
And welcome back to the program. Brad Miller with you, and again, it is county-wide. Our guest today, Shannon Boone, housing manager, cities of Sedona and Cottonwood, and initially here in our first piece talking about, what are we calling this program in Sedona?
It's called Rent Local.
Rent Local, okay. Incentivizing homeowners to perhaps rent out to workers primarily in the tourist visitor industry. There are so many here, and the pay that they make, it makes them very hard to find a decent housing. You know, I mean, that's a piece of it as well. Sometimes you think, well, but it's kind of hard to feel good about yourself and your job when you're looking at places that can be really kind of rough around the edges. And hopefully this will add a little bit. These incentives will help people, kind of find better qualities of life and what they're doing. When we talk about affordable housing, and now let's drive down the road to Cottonwood a little bit. There's a bunch of stuff going up. Are these? Can we call? Look, I'll just say it. There's a big complex going up across from the hospital. Looks huge. Is that going to be an affordable housing development?
It's not. Technically, it's 192 units. It'll be called Inspiration. They're intended to be market rate apartment units.
Okay. So simply supply and demand.
Yes.
Okay. A little more supply might help us with that demand over time. Even with 192 units, I'm thinking those are probably going to be gobbled up quite quickly with all the people that are kind of coming. Can the city compel, or the state, or I don't know how any of this works, either through the permitting process or whatever, compel a developer and or a community, city, town, whatever, to build what we would call affordable housing? And if so, what is affordable housing? And maybe that's the $1 million question.
So no, the cities cannot compel that in the state of Arizona. In 43 other states, they can. But in Arizona, it's illegal to, they call it inclusionary zoning. It's not allowed here.
Okay.
So we can offer incentives, and the developers can voluntarily accept those incentives and include affordable housing.
Okay.
It's not usually in their best interest when it's just an incentive, because they are for profit and they're looking all the time at how to maximize their profits, and that's their job.
Right.
So.
Well, and I think we kind of understand that. So what can be done to aim more? I mean, this program, the Sedona, I'm sorry, say it again, Rent Local?
Rent Local.
Okay. Is that, was there a pilot somewhere else? Is that the kind of thing you saw somewhere else, or was that kind of thought up?
So this is our pilot program, but there are several other tourist towns in Colorado, California, and Montana that have done similar programs. We tailored it a little bit to meet our market specifically, but we've seen these programs be successful in other tourist towns, and that's why we're trying it.
Yeah, okay. And again, kind of with the requirements, I guess anybody who's interested, and then you'll go, and is there a property inspection, or what's kind of the procedure past? I know we're just at the application piece. What happens next? I mean, if someone is denied participation in this program? What might the reasons be for that?
Well, for the pilot program, we did limit participation to folks who are already doing short-term or vacation rentals. So if they're already renting to locals, a new local lease wouldn't qualify for the incentive.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. They've kind of already got a leg up and into how this works.
Yeah, and it's really because we just have a shortage of units, so we need to kind of get those units back from the vacation rental market so that our locals have housing.
Right. Okay. And then again, like with some of the newer development, we can't incentivize, we can't, what would be a solution, or can there be? I mean, just a glut of inventory, it seems like really is the only solution, and I don't know that that's ever going to happen.
Well, we can incentivize, but we can't require. So that's kind of the distinction with the inclusionary zoning.
Any nibbles at the incentives?
It's tough.
I would think so. Yeah.
The incentives just can't be big enough for the profits that some developers are looking at right now. We've had a couple of minor wins, though.
Yeah.
And there are definitely some community-minded builders who are trying to come up with a product that locals can afford.
Right. When we talk about have business owners, particularly here back into the tourist industry, which drives everything in our area, are they having worker shortages? Are they coming up short? I know there are teachers in town who can't find a place to live. I would assume there are hospitality workers businesses that are short of workers simply because there's no place for them to stay.
For sure. And I hear that a lot, even to the point where businesses are, looking at solving the housing problem themselves. Like, how can we build? Where can we put people? It's definitely a challenge. And you see it usually, if you go out to eat a lot, your favorite restaurant is closed now a day or two a week. And certainly the service industry is feeling it, but other businesses as well. Even the cities have challenges. When we even trying to hire managers, they can't find an affordable place to live, so they don't accept the position. Yeah. So housing is really critical to the success of all of the local businesses as well.
And it seems like with so many things, the pandemic just kind of exacerbated what was already, kind of a problem. People having, for many different reasons. I mean, we heard an awful lot, maybe not quite so much in recent months, the big quit. A lot of people finding different directions in their lives, many of them becoming remote workers, finding out that was a realistic kind of thing. I can count among my own family members many who ended up doing that and are happier, for having done that. So that can kind of, it seems to me, play into both pieces of this. If you're, working for an insurance office, remote working seems like the kind of thing you can do. In a restaurant, it's just not an option. And so it can only solve some of the problem to a certain point. All right. We're talking with Shannon Boone, and we need to take another break. Shannon is the housing manager for the cities of Sedona and Cottonwood. And gosh, I thought in our 20-some minutes we would solve the problem of affordable housing in this area. I don't think we're quite going to. All right. I'm Brad Miller. Countywide is back right after this.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Service for over 25 years and continues to serve the communities in northern Arizona. Jackson Hewitt is here to help you file your personal taxes. As laws and situations change, your local Jackson Hewitt Tax Service professional stays updated to serve you. Drop off or make an in-person appointment. In Flagstaff, call 213-8626. That's 213-8626. That's 213-8626.
The award-winning experts at Verde Solar Services offer the trusted carrier products that help you customize a solution to fit your budget. Verde Solar is a family-owned business serving the Verde Valley for 38 years with the carrier products you can rely on. Carrier AC systems are trusted to bring energy-efficient, quiet, consistent comfort. Call 928-567-5315 for a free assessment of your AC and air quality needs. Verde Solar Services, online at verdesolar.com, a factory-authorized carrier dealer.
Don't let concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Matthias Sandoval, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand the impact of these events and make sure your goals are top of mind. While you can't control the market volatility, We'll focus on what you can control. We can connect in several virtual ways. Start by giving me a call at 634-1044.
Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing. Member SIPC.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Brad Miller. It's countywide, and again, kind of wrapping up with Shannon Boone, housing manager, cities of Sedona and Cottonwood. And yes, I was joking when I said I thought we would solve this problem. A lot of people smarter than me have been considering the affordable housing issue in our area for a long, long time. Just what is the definition of affordable housing? I think most people have something in their mind, but maybe not.
I think everyone has something in their mind,
Yeah,
but affordable
probably.
housing is really just saying that the household, whoever it is, pays no more than 30% of their total household income towards housing.
Okay.
So the goal is that we all have affordable housing, not a segment of the population or workforce or
Right. But this is not this has got to be something that is common to any tourist area. People come here for a very specific purpose. It's to enjoy what we who do live here all get to enjoy every single day, and finding a way around that is just, in a free market society is going to be a difficult problem forever, and here clearly it is. We focused our comments today on Sedona and Cottonwood. You're the housing manager for both cities. Have you chatted with your counterparts in, Jerome, Camp Verde, Rimrock, Montezuma? Do they have any similar type situations, or part of the solution, perhaps?
For sure, and I know Jerome, for example, has probably just as many equal percentage of short-term rentals as Sedona does.
Okay.
So I think they have a very similar challenge, and each of the localities is hurting for affordable housing.
Yeah.
I have also heard from other cities around the state, so around Lake Havasu and a couple of other towns where they're curious about the Rent Local program and how we're doing it and how it's working.
I would think a lot of people are going to be ringing your phone about that, cities and towns. I mean, surely it seems like something. We all, there's a lot of times when there's a problem confronting us, we say, well, somebody's got to do something. And now with this program, Sedona is at least trying it, modeled somewhat off some other communities with similar kinds of problems. So I think a lot of folks, are there other bigger cities in Arizona doing it?
No.
Phoenix Valley cities, is that right?
No, I understand we're the first city in Arizona.
No kidding. Okay, I didn't realize it was kind of that fresh to our area. Well, all eyes are on you, Shannon, and the city of Sedona, and we'll even do that. I'm going to kind of make a note here that we'll talk about this maybe a year down the road, and see how well it's going and what other kinds of possibilities have come out of it. Affordable housing is an issue in our communities. It has been for a long time, probably will continue to be, but some folks working toward at least alleviating that, and a solution might be something a little bit more long-term. Our guest today, Shannon Boone, housing manager, cities of Sedona and Cottonwood. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Been busy in your office. We appreciate your time today. I'm Brad Miller. It's Countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.